Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to create your own website in Wix. You can follow along with me step by step by clicking the first link in the description. So the first thing you will see when you log in into your Wix account is your dashboard. If you have some websites done, you will see them here. If not, it will be blank, but on the right there will be for sure button create a new site. Click on it. Here, Wix is offering you some groups of templates that you can choose from. So you have to decide which one better describes your business. So let's get the photography one. Here you can choose from the templates. So if you want a photo studio, you can simply type here photo studio. And then the relevant templates will come up. That's only if you wish to use the templates. If not, you can skip that and go for blank templates, which will simply be a white screen where you do the website from the scratch. But from many designers' experience, it's much easier to use the template. So let's use the ready template. This one, yeah? So you can preview it by clicking view, or you can edit it straight away. So let's edit it. So Wix is completely cloud-based editor. You don't have to download anything, you don't have to install anything, everything happens in your browser. It doesn't matter which browser you have, your connection has to be fast. It doesn't have to be extremely fast, but it has to be fast. So here we go, here is the editor. Right, so if you have any knowledge of how to use a Word or PowerPoint, that will be a great use, because the whole concept of Wix is very similar. They call it drag and drop. Let me explain you why. All items on your screen are elements. Elements exactly like they are in Word or PowerPoint presentation. So it's called drag and drop because you can drag them with your mouse button and then move them whenever you prefer. And where you leave them, that's the place where they will be displayed on your website. But we'll come back to that later. Let's see what do we have here available in the editor. So on the left you have 7 main buttons. That's your menu. That's where all the tools for creating your websites are. So the first one, and one of the most important, is menu and pages. So that's your website structure. Here your pages are stored, and here you decide how your pages are called and then how are they allocated, in which order are they. So for example, if you want to delete the page called pregnancy, so let's delete it. Yes, and you can see that immediately that page will be gone from the menu. Or for example, you would like to delete a bio, or maybe call it biography. So see here, the changes are reflected immediately. You can also make the sub-pages, yeah, like this. So you just drag it under, and this way we have one sub-page. And if you want to have it back, you simply drag it back. Please note, you can only have one level of sub-page. Here you can also check and change how the page transition will happen. So it's simply the way the information will be displayed in the moment when the page is loading. In order to simplify the process of creating your page, duplicate it. So you don't have to draw the elements every time. In order to do that, you design your page, you click 3 buttons here, and then you click duplicate. If for any reason you want to hide your page temporarily, like let's imagine the website is live, but you work in some other pages. Again, here you can hide your page, and then the eye will appear, which means your page is only visible to you. So let's now see which elements can we edit and what's the process of actually creating your website. So first and the most important thing you have to do is to choose which background you want to have on your website. So you can choose color, image, video, or maybe choose from some backgrounds that Wix is offering for you. The good thing about Wix is that they have quite a substantial database of graphics that they purchased, and they offer to you for free and it's not copyrighted. So it's entirely up to you whether to use theirs or maybe you want to upload an image. So it's entirely up to you. For example, I want to change the color of the screen to blue. So I simply click on the color, the colors will pop up, and then I choose the one here. If you want the color that you specifically need, you can add that color, but you need to know that color code. That's not the Wix system, it's the common system of color coding. So same with images and videos. If you choose background as the video, yeah, it's added, but obviously you can only see it in the preview. And actually it's very important. Here you have 3 buttons, which is save, preview, and publish, and they speak for themselves. So save is to save your progress, preview is to see how it will work on the ready website before you publish it, and publish is obviously publish. That's where all the people will see it. The third button is the most important one. That's probably where you spend most of your time. So let me show you and explain why. So here you have groups of possible actions and elements and boxes, buttons, strips, apps, forms, light boxes, anything you could imagine on your website. It's all here. And it's all grouped in a nice way, quite logical and structured. And it doesn't mean that if it looks like that, that's the only way it could look. No, it's just a start. What you have to do is to choose the one that's the most closely reflects what you're trying to achieve, and then adapt it the best way you want. For example, I don't like this font in italic, so I'm going to delete it. In order to delete something, you obviously click it and then it's on your keyboard. Then you go to the third button, which is add element, choose heading. You can choose from, again, the one that Wix kind of pre-designed for you, but it's not necessarily the end. You simply has it as a start, and then you can make it changes. In order to go into changes, you have to double click on it, exactly like you open a folder on your computer. So here you have few options that you can change. Well, actually it's quite a few options that you can change, quite a lot. So you can choose the theme, which is straight away changing lots of things, or you can choose the font. So there are lots of fonts here in the database. If the font you like is not here, you can always upload that font. You have to download it online, and then you click upload. You choose it on your computer, and then the font will come up here. Let's go for the most, quite common font that's called Times New Roman. Everyone knows it, right? So Times New Roman, yes. And then, for example, you think it's too big. If it's too big, let's make it smaller. You can make it smaller or bigger by dragging, or just simply by putting the figure of the font size into the box. So I want it to be 35, and that's changed now. If you want to have it bold, it's here, italic, here. Same with the color. So if you want to change the color, it's here. The logic is exactly the same as everywhere else where you work with the colors. You want to highlight it, it's here. That's very interesting because here you can add the link. So you can link that text anywhere on your site. You can also align it. You can like make a bullets or numbering. You can add effects, choose the spacing, like you can make it wider or narrower. There are quite a lot of options, and they speak for themselves. It shouldn't be an issue if you ever work in Word. Now, for example, I don't like this picture. So there are two ways of changing that. First is to delete it and then create a new one, or you can change it. But this is kind of pre-designed thing, and I don't like the way it is, so I would prefer to delete it. And go into images, and here I can choose to upload an image or use the free image from Wix. You can choose it later as well, but first let's go to the third group of elements, which is the galleries. So, for example, you want to add a gallery here, and you want to call it nature. So you choose the style of the gallery that you like. You can change it later, but actually all of them are presented here. So whether you like a slider or you like the collage or stacked, it's entirely up to you. So I like the collage. Right, so I add it there. Yeah, to add it you have to drag it out of the menu here. So bear in mind, you see those lines, and Wix is kind of helping you to make sure that your website is optimized full screen. So all your elements, all your website has to be kept in between those lines on the left and the right. And you have a header and a footer, but we'll speak about it later. So yeah, just make sure that all your titles and everything is there. For some elements, however, this rule can be broken, like this element. For elements, this rule can be broken. You have this menu when you click on it, which is called stretch. For example, if I click here, it's not there. It means you cannot leave. And you see Wix will tell you that if you leave this element here, nobody will see it. So, for example, on the menu, you see you have the stretch, which means you can actually stretch your menu to the full width, and that's okay. I mean, it will be optimized for all screens, no problems. But we don't need it here. Same as the gallery. So gallery currently is within those lines, but if you want to have it full screen and adapt to every single screen that will open it, no problem. Use it. Right. So now we have the pictures in the gallery, but we don't really like those pictures because they're not what we're trying to show. So yeah, to delete them, you select them all and then you click delete. Then you click add media image. This site has no files, you can upload it. It's no harder than uploading it anywhere in the web. Very interesting is this free from Wix. I mentioned that before. Wix has a substantial database of lots and lots of pictures that they purchased. So we have a photography website. So we want to see something photo shoot related. So yeah, there are quite a lot of pictures. Probably if you do a photo shoot website, you want to show your own works. But for this example, we're going to choose the one that's there. So I like this picture, I like this picture, and I like, I don't know, maybe this picture. So I add them to the page. They will come up here. For this type of gallery, 3 pictures is not enough, so let's choose more. To choose more, you click on the element and you go to manage media, and then you add media, image, and then you go to free from Wix, where you do add your pictures. So maybe let's show that we also do photos of the nature. Like that, like that, like that, like that. So we choose as many as we want. You can use your own mix with Wix. You can mix videos, so you can choose videos as well, which will play here along, and then you click done. So yeah, your gallery now is a bit better. So now let's see which settings we have on this gallery. Go to settings. So the things that we can change here is the layout. So we chose the collage, but here, that's what I mentioned, you can actually change it later, but not exactly the way you want, the way that Wix is offering you. You can choose what will happen when you click on the image, so nothing can happen. Or maybe a link will open, but then you have to set up links, I'll show you in a second, or open and expand, which will show you a picture in the full size on the pop-up page. If you want, you can allow it to be downloaded, but you have to think whether it's appropriate to the picture that you're showing. You can show the like button or hide this button, and you can show the social sharing pictures as well. There is a way to edit the way that the shading is happening on the pictures that you hover over. For example, I want for it to be pink. So now when I will go into preview, it's pink. And yeah, let me show you what's the difference in between hover over pop-up and link. So this is obviously a pop-up, so it just maximizes it into the separate page. Yeah. And then the other way is link opens. So how to set up link? And you can set up link for every single image. You have to go into manage media. So every picture on the right, it has its own settings. Here, and they're all called differently, and they all have description that you can write, which will be shown in the pop-up window. We have link. So if we want this picture to link us somewhere, it can link to the external website, it can link to the page on this website, it can link to a document, it can link to an email, phone box. Actually, it's quite a lot of things where it can link to. So, for example, I want this page to link to biography, and I click done. So now on the right we see that the link from this picture goes to biography. Important to click done. So now when I will click on this picture, it will take me to biography. So that easy. Now let's come back to the page where we were here. Okay, so there are not too many images, so I will make it actually smaller because we don't need that much space in this case. If you have lots of images, yes, make it full screen. Full width. So I'll call it gallery. Again, to change it, just type it like you do in Word. No problem. Right, so we've added the gallery. Exactly the same logic applies to the texts. I mean, to the passages. I mean, you can add the passage below. You add it here, and then it went over, but you take it and drag it. Now it's below. You can place it in the middle. Wix is helping you with those lines. They're invisible and only appear when you move something around. They help you to make sure you're in the center of the page. That's very important in the web design because the elements have to be symmetrical. So we used Times New Roman, so we want to be consistent and we want it to be aligned in the center. Right. Okay. And don't forget to save your progress. However, in the latest Wix editor version, it's automatic save. If you save something you don't want, you can always go to the site history and then you will be able to come back to the version that you're happy with. Let's see what other elements we have here. We have vector art. Vector art is when you choose the element that don't have any background, so they're transparent. So for those elements, if you upload it yourself, it has to be PNG format or SVG, which is the transparent graphics. Or you can choose the one that Wix is offering you. They're quite handy if you're making some menu or you just want to have those icons which help you to explain more about the website to make it more user-friendly. Well, the train doesn't really fit the gallery. Again, it's exactly the same free from Wix database that you can use. So if I want to use the photo camera, maybe just a photo. Yeah, so I have it here. So I change the train to the photo camera. I can also change the color, which is quite interesting. Every element in Wix has a menu, and they're all different, and you can't really go through all of them because it will take forever. But just bear in mind that the whole logic is you click on the element, and then all the possible things you can do with it pop up on top of it. So vector art has that many things you can change, while the gallery has that many things, and this has that many things. But under a button, lots of functions can hide. So here I want to make it different color, like let's say green to fit my site more. That's how I do it. You can add the animation, so that's the way it will appear. Yeah. So you can add a link, but if you just have it as a picture, then what's the point? So continue to explore what we have here. Interactive. It's quite a lot of elements that you can use. Let me show you a bit more about it. So all these things here are there to make your life easier. They're created by Wix in order to show you nice ways of doing the design and the website. For example, you want to add the sliding presentation and you want to choose this one. Right, so it went on my element, so I'm gonna drag it down below, and the photo camera, I will drag it up to the place where it was. So this picture doesn't really fit what I need. Again, the same logic. You click on it, you see possible options. So obviously what you want to do first, you want to change the slide background. That's what we're going to do. We're going to choose the image, and we want to have some nice Pebble Beach, for example. All changed. But now you can't see your font because that picture was really good fit for that white font, but now it's not. So what we're going to do about it? We can change the color, but is it going to help? Not really. So what should we do in order to make it look nice? Here on the left, we always go back to that third thing. We have box. It sounds like a simple element, but actually it's saving you quite a lot because you can add your other elements to the box and always wait until this attach to box thing will appear, because that's where you make sure that they will travel together. Because if you leave it like that, they don't well, they do travel together because I attached it earlier, but if you do it like that, it won't, because you have to attach it to the box. Now they're together, and then you add your shop now maybe with it. So, but I don't like the fact that it's not transparent. It's gray and dull, so I want to make it more transparent. Again, same logic, click on it, options above, I want to change design. Yeah, you can choose the design that's already there, or you can customize it the way you want. So fill, color, and opacity, because I want some opacity, so let me get it. Yeah, not too much, not too less. So about that, you can use percentage, but just try it that it fits. And then again, if you want to rename it, you call it Photo Studio, and then maybe you want to have it in blue. No, not really, dark blue. Yes, and then it's not the font that we're using Times New Roman. So I'm changing it to Times New Roman. Photo Studio. This button, again, it can be redesigned. Well, we don't need it for now, but exactly the same logic. Button can be redesigned using the pre-existing designs or customized the way you want. So you can change the text, the color, you can change absolutely everything. Okay, so save. Now let's go further and see what else is there. Strip. Strip is, remember that thing where we made the gallery the full width? So that's exactly the same, but it just has some pre-existing elements. Like it can have some boxes, or it can have some forms, which will make much easier for you to design it all. So it's basically something that's there. So let's, for example, you want to have 4 columns. You drag them anywhere on your site. Like you will not look nice once you attach it for the first time, but then move it down. Yeah, so leave some space. So that's actually the clip arts that we were talking about. You see, they're widely used for making some user-friendly elements. So here you have 4 columns. For example, again, you click on it, oh, there are options to manage columns. Let's see what's there. So there are 4 columns. You can move columns around, maybe, Or maybe you want to change to make one column really different from another. So there is, first time when you click, you'll have the settings of all 4. But if you click second time, you will go into the settings of this particular column. So I want to change the background. I like that green. It's not fitting the website theme. So I want to make it blue. Okay, done. But actually, now this black doesn't look nice. So I want to change it. Well, I can change the element, but actually just want to change the color. So I click on it once, change the color to white. Same with the text. Double click. It's already selected. White. Same with this. Design. Customize. White. Done. So you can edit the text whichever you want. Yeah. Or maybe you think that you have too many columns, so let's make fewer, maybe 3 or maybe 2. Or maybe you made a mistake when I come back. You have undo and redo exactly like you have in a Word document, so to bring it back. So that's another example of the elements. So there are many thousands of elements, and I cannot really show you how to work with all of them, but logic is everywhere the same. Drag it, try it, click on it, you'll see the options, you see if it fits, use it. Lists. Lists is when you want to have, for example, like a process, or maybe the explanation, or maybe the bullet point, and then you explain how to do things in steps. So that's where you would go for the elements. Video, speaking for itself, you can upload the video, whether it's YouTube, whether it's on your own video, whether it's set of videos, choose from the elements. You can have some filters on the video attached. It's all in the settings. You click on the element, you drag it, and then you change the settings which will hover over. Same with the music. Social, which is very important nowadays. You see here, for example, social are there, but I don't like the very simple, so I'm gonna go here and take this one. Yep. Don't forget they will not connect automatically. So again, click on it, menu is there, and every single icon on the right, it has some where this social page, what social page does this icon link to. So you choose, you paste the link for your page. That's how you do it. Contact form, very important thing. So let's go maybe to the relevant page if they have it here. Well, they don't have it in this template, but not a problem. We can use maybe this page, duplicate it, call it contact, and remember the pages that are here and are not hidden, they will be displayed on top, and I want to have it as the last page. So you see now it's last. Obviously there won't be any pictures on the contact page. Obviously I will rename it into contact. And now I want to add the form so people can actually contact me. Adding the form is a great way if you don't want to show your mobile number or email. So you can simply ask them to leave the details. Yeah, you have the first name, last name, email, phone, message. It's all changeable. For example, you don't want them to, you don't need a phone. You can delete that. Yeah, but maybe instead of that you want to add something else. For example, you want them to upload the file. So again, I'll show you again. Same logic. You click on the form, lots of settings there. Add elements, settings, layouts, design, animation, whichever. So manage fields, add field. Again, this has lots of things you can add to a form. We want a file upload. Probably it won't happen because it's a free version. Well, for file uploads you need to pay. So let's go for something else, maybe a date. So yeah, it won't go exactly where you need it, so you have to drag it and drop where it should be and make sure it's all consistent. Yeah. So every field has so the form has settings and then the fields have settings. Yeah. So the first click will take you to the form, and then the next click will take you to the field. So for example, we see that the title of the field is missing here, so we want to edit it. So we want to show the field title, and we want to call it date. And you can choose whether it's required or not. So yeah, that's how you do it. Don't forget to move it back so your form looks, move it up so your form looks great. That's it. Submit button is again speaking for itself, but where is it going to go? That's a big question. I mean, yeah, they clicked submit. What happened next? You can change it in the settings. So you say, yeah, you show success message. You can change the text that's displayed. Thank you. How long the text is shown, and then what happens with the submissions. So here you have the place where you can add 2 emails where the information will go. It goes immediately within seconds, and there are no limit on how many emails you send in an hour or in a day. It's unlimited. That's how it is. If you don't like it's pink, again, don't forget you can Right, let's see what else is there. So menu is the obviously thing on top. If you want to change design, click on it. Design is there. You can choose how you want to have it. Yep. Then you have, well, lightbox is that irritating thing that comes up when you open some site, but then they ask for your email first. So that's called the lightbox. It's up to you whether to use it or not. Block is actually an app. We'll speak about app later. Store, members, and more. That's all later on. If you need, quite a useful thing. If you need that has the code, like HTML code, you can do it here. You simply drag the HTML frame, you add the code, and your element, your function, your menu will be displayed. Now let's speak about apps, because apps are very, very important. It makes a difference to the website. It makes the automation and many other things. So you have the app market, which Wix is collecting, updating, and presenting to you. For example, you want to have your Instagram integrated. So there will be lots of apps. I do recommend not to click it from the list, but to finish typing what you need and then click search, because here you can see all the apps. You see some of them are by Wix and most of them are free, the one that are done by Wix. Some of them are done by a third company, and they obviously give you a free trial or maybe free version and a premium version. And then obviously we want to have the Instagram feed shown different way, and different apps will do it in a different way. You have to make your research and decide which one you like. Let's go for the standard one, and again you have to click add to a site, and that will happen. So again, don't forget to drag it down. Or maybe up, or maybe instead of the form, wherever you prefer. You have your settings where you stretch it, or you don't want it stretched. And then in the settings, you're actually choosing the feed that you will be using. But in order to do that, you can't simply give it the ID. You have to actually log into your account. That's a security measure, and for people not to use someone else's account. You can choose some settings here. Again, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? So yeah, here in the app market there are lots of things you can have. For example, you want to have the Excel spreadsheet from your Google Sheets that's integrated live into your website. That's how you do it. So you choose the app that you think is the best. You can do it by reading reviews, reading description, or simply trying. There are no harm in trying. They're all free, and even if it's not free, you can try it for free. I mean, there is no way you will pay for the app without you knowing for that. So don't worry about that. So there is app for absolutely everything. Just think about what do you actually need. Good thing is Wix Chat, for example. It's a very nice app because it adds on the bottom right of your website, and then you can have people actually messaging to you straight away. There is an app for the mobile phone. If you download it and log into your account, then every time someone goes onto your website, you will see that, you will get notification, and you will be able to start a conversation with the person in the chat. You're not missing a single visitor. For a growing new business, that's a big thing. My uploads is simply duplication of what you have uploaded before, but yeah, you will use it anyway in the galleries, in the text, and other places. Blog is just another feature. Same, you can add your blog. Let's see. Wix blog, yeah, it creates a separate page, so you can't really kind of have blog and something else on it has to be kind of separate page of the website. And it's you can certainly change design, but then there are things you cannot change, right? But everything you can change is here. There is app for bookings. If you want to take some bookings and you want it to be self-manageable, like your calendar is there, and then people can choose the empty slots, and then you see when your work is, and you don't have a clash. Wix is doing it for you. It's here. Very, very nice, very useful. So that's the general overview how the Wix editor is working. It does take a bit of time to get used to that, but actually it's extremely simple. It's drag and drop. Don't forget, it's everything drag and drop. It's no harder than working anywhere else on your computer. And for all the functions or editing, always click once for the functions and double click for editing. Let me show you one more important thing. So, like, there is a research that nowadays about 70% of the traffic goes through the mobile screen. So the website has to be optimized for the mobile screen, and Wix took care of that. So there is a special editor for the mobile phone which is on top of the website. There are few settings here. You can change them later on, but generally it kind of shows you the mobile phone and how your site will look on that. The difference is that here you cannot actually add anything. You can only move things or hide things. For example, I don't want on my biography page, no, this is not my page, babies, that's also not my page, family, yeah, so that's my page. I don't want this photo clip art to be shown, so I can hide it. So that thing appears only in the mobile editor. You can delete elements, you can hide them. And if by mistake you hid them, you want them back, click here and then they will come back. You can't add anything, you can only hide and move things around, aligning that. For example, you see this box is not in the middle, so you want to move it here so it's aligned. But you can't edit anything else on that box. Like for editing transparency, you have to go back to the desktop editor and those changes will be reflecting. Or maybe this is not really useful in your mobile site. Hide it and it's gone altogether. And your chat. So yeah, there are things you can and you cannot do here, but it's very useful to make sure your site is displayed nicely from the mobile phone. Saved. Right. Now let me show you one last thing, is how to save your site, how to publish your site, and how to work with the dashboard. So in order to save your site, well, it will be automatically saved, but then you can change the way it's called temporarily until you connect your domain. To connect domain, you have to simply follow the process that Wix is asking you to do. So yeah, that's here. And then yeah, once you're ready, you publish your website. So let me go back to my sites. So my new site will appear here. And then it's not yet published because I didn't do it. But then, very important, if you click the second small button, you will get straight into editor. If you click the first one, you will get into the dashboard, which is not the editor, which is kind of a back office thing for your website. So yeah, the photo albums, that's where you upload your pictures. You can do it without actually going into editor, which is sometimes quite useful. Same with the other functions like bookings. So you can see your bookings here. Again, you can manage it all here. You don't have to go into editor, because going to editor is to change the design, but for getting the information, orders, functions, bookings, even blog, you don't need to go into the editor. You can do it all here. The more apps you've added to your website, the more functions will appear here. Yeah. So very important one is, from my point of view, are marketing tools. If you want to get to be found in Google, use Wix custom-made, they call it SEO wizard. So you simply follow the steps, and Wix will place you in Google for organic search. So it will show your company name, and then it will show the link and the description, so people will be able to find you in Google by your company name for free. If you want to have some analytics, you can do it all here, like Facebook Pixel, Google Analytics, Tag Manager, Google Ads, anything you want. You can all connect it here. Let's go back. So on the dashboard, you have, so here is connect domain. On the right, it's quite important. Once your website is done, make sure you've connected your domain. You can buy a new one. If you buy a yearly package from Wix, they will give you the domain for free. You can connect the domain you have. You follow the steps, quite easy. Same with the business email. If you want to have not a Gmail account, but the really like info@yourwebsitename.com, you can do it here. There are lots of offers. Make sure you check them. So yeah, and all the apps that you've added, their settings will come up here. Don't forget to check that. Once everything is ready, publish your website and see if it's perfect. If it's not, make the changes, save it, publish. The changes will reflect straight away. And remember that doing the website is a never-ending process. You can do the website, but then in some time you would want to add something or change something. So Wix is good for that, because it gives you unlimited opportunity to do that, and it's just limited by your creativity. Good luck.